there were palm trees on 495. I wish there were palm trees.
We're here at the Brewers Collective in Bayshore for a very special episode of the 495 podcast. We're with three breweries, all from Bayshore, all north of Sunrise Highway. Dubco was invited. They couldn't make it last minute. But we're here with the Brewers representatives of the Brewers Collective, HopWin's Brewery, which is going to open later this year, and we'll get into that. And our friend from Great South Bay Brewery, the Old Guard. And anyway, figured you guys should introduce yourselves.
All right, Tim Doherty from the Brewers Collective right here where we're at.
The host site.
The host spot. I'm one of the partners here and the head brewer, and that's me.
Tim, where are you from?
I'm from East Islip originally. I live in Ronkonkoma now.
All right, very good. You guys.
How you doing? I'm Steve Wynn from HopWin's Brewery, head brewer at HopWin's Brewery and one of the owners. And I'm from Bayshore itself. Grew up over by St. Louis Avenue over there, so kind of local. It's pretty cool.
You go to Bayshore High School?
I went to Islip High School, so right on the border
okay.
there. So,
yeah, you're in the vortex.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And your last name, Wynn?
Wynn, yep.
And you're Hot?
Yeah, I'm Bill Hoppy, one of the owners of HopWin's, right next door. I do the marketing, and I grew up in West Babylon, and I'm living in Deer Park right now.
And what's cool is that HopWin's and the Brewers Collective share a building.
We do.
That's right.
Yeah, we're just a couple doors down from them.
That's got to be pretty awesome. I said earlier in the before the podcast started, are you guys going to be like Cheers and Gary's Old Town Tavern pulling stunts on each other?
Oh, yeah.
Fucking burning the other place down.
Relax, it was a joke.
Nice.
And Greg, right?
Yep, Greg Maish from Great South Bay Brewery. Been with the company for just a little bit over 9 years now.
Oh, wow.
Born and raised right next door in West Islip. Bayshore resident at this point for over 3 years. Right around the corner from here.
Yep.
Almost too close.
Right over the wall.
Yeah.
Too close.
Head brewer at Great South Bay. Everything's going well over there, yeah.
Excellent. And when you started with Great South Bay, how many years had they been in business, and what was your role when you started?
Oh, good question. So I was hired as head brewer, actually. I was, we consider my first day sort of the first day of Great South Bay Brewery. I'm sort of employee number one. It was Rick and I, Rick Sabatka, the anesthesiologist.
Yeah.
We've been at it ever since. Been from his garage until we got kicked out of his garage. We ended up in my garage or my parents. The HOA, I guess, or the homeowners association didn't really like us.
They frowned upon breweries.
They did not really care for us. We had open flames inside of the garage and stuff like that down in Bayshore. That was in Bayshore. They were a lot of curious heads poking their way in there. And then over to my garage, my folks' garage at the time in West Islip, and that was all good, but it was time to find a building. And then we found our first location over on Union and Saxon right here in Bayshore, and sort of outgrew that space before we were even able to grow into it, and decided to up and leave and find something bigger. So we went from a 3,900 square foot building to a 39,000 square foot building.
Wow.
Now it's a little bit too much space, but we hope to grow into that over the next year or so.
It's massive.
Yeah,
That must have been some
big.
conversation.
It's big.
When you guys had that chance to move to the place you guys are at now, they'd be like, okay, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to, I don't know how many times it is of that space. It's tremendous compared to the other one.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, all right, let's do it.
It was fast, and I was kind of the last to know. I think the business was about 5 or 6 of us at the time, and I was the last to find out. And they said, "Hey, Greg, come check this building out." And,
Nice.
That was it.
Yeah, the first time I saw it, I was floored. And by the way, I'm Michael White, co-host of the podcast, and
Nick Esposito.
I just want to get that out of the way. When I first visited your current location, I was like amazed at how huge it was. I was like, this is like the Bordy Barn indoors.
It was way too big, yeah.
Yeah. So what's the scene like there on like a Saturday, in the fall?
The fall is our busiest season without a doubt. The fall into the winter, the winter gets even, I would say, just about the same.
Sweet spots probably.
Exactly.
October to November.
Spring is where we kind of start tailing off.
Yeah.
One thing I think we would like to do, one thing that I always say the only thing we're missing is a little outdoor space, unfortunately. You know, our location being a little bit more industrial than usual, it's a little difficult to get a nice little beer garden set up outdoors and stuff like that. So it kind of tails off this time of year, but, you know.
Yeah, people want to be outside.
That's it.
Well,
But we're still busy enough.
The Bay Fest is a great outdoor festival, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, how did you and Rick get to know each other?
Oh, good question. So my mom is a nurse at Southside Hospital. Rick, who's still an anesthesiologist, was practicing at Southside at the time. And I was at Blue Point at the time. That was my first job in the industry. And Rick had overheard my mom just mentioning that, you know, my son's working at Blue Point or this or that, all the nurses and doctors are friends over there. Yeah. And it'd always been a huge dream of Rick's to, open a brewery, to start a brewery. And about a year before we actually got together to start Great South Bay Brewery, Rick came to me and expressed interest. It was probably a couple months into my career at Blue Point at the time. And I was just like, I don't know, this is, maybe not right now.
You just felt you didn't have enough experience?
He's like, we're going to start this. I think it was sort of a blessing in disguise. I got to stay at Blue Point for a little over a year, learn a bunch and, kind of pick up. If we had done it right then, I don't think we would have had, the knowledge. I don't think Rick was even ready, to be honest. Mm-hmm. We discuss it sometimes, thinking back, like, good thing we, gave it a year. But over the course of that year, while I was at Blue Point, Rick and I had stayed in touch. We had, shared some beers, and, I was still home brewing and this and that. And we definitely stayed in touch. And then lost contact maybe for 3 months, and then he came to me and he said, Greg, I'm doing it, I'm doing it with you or without you, what do you say? And sort of made me an offer I couldn't refuse, start a brewery from the ground up. I said, hey, let's go for it. It was easily one of the hardest decisions of my life, but no regret. Yeah, no regrets.
You chose right.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
Nick, I'm going to pass the mic to you for a little bit.
Hey guys.
Hey.
We got you guys all here together in Bayshore because it feels like there isn't any other downtown that has so many breweries in it. What do you guys think about collaborating?
Yeah, it should. I mean, me and Greg just did a collab here this morning, actually. It's funny you say that.
That's a perfect question.
Yeah, definitely.
And,
once these guys are open next door, I hope to be collabing quite a bit.
What was the collaboration?
Today, we can talk about it, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, let's pump it up.
We're doing a kiwi sour. I think we're going to dry hop the shit out of it too. So
yep.
Should be nice.
Yeah, we're just kind of making it up as we go along and having fun with it.
That's right.
We had not milled in. We had not even started the first step, which is crushing the grains until this morning. Usually we'll do that the day before, but we're just kind of like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and having fun with it and passing ideas back and forth.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to come out good. So whichever way we do it, so
I find
it on the spot.
I find it such a unique field because, especially when I go to the Bay Fest or Cask Ale Fest, it's like there's a lot of camaraderie between the different brewers and everyone's kind of like exchanging ideas. But you guys are in a unique position because you guys are all in the same town. You don't see that in many other places.
Yeah, right. It's a concentration going on here for sure.
Definitely.
Now, is it that Bayshore, the town of Islip, we're a little more progressive and opening?
Not at all.
And opening their arms to you?
Well, I think for us, it was more or less. Steve grew up here in Bayshore.
Yeah.
We liked the breweries we saw already, and we were just looking around at places. We just thought this would be a perfect home for us because we like the breweries that we hear already, and we like the idea of being next to other breweries, kind of trying to make a destination.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of the things we're trying to do is make a destination for Bayshore and craft beer drinkers. So when they want to go craft beer brewery hopping, they will pick Bayshore. Hopefully with these great breweries that we have here, and we're just kind of joining ranks and trying to do our part with it as well.
Awesome. The only other thing I could kind of compare it to is like Polish Town, downtown Riverhead, where they have a few that are located right in the same centralized
Right. So whenever you go to Riverhead and you're going to go spend a day there hitting breweries, you're going to hit all of them. You might as well, right? So we're trying to get the same vibe here in Bayshore, where people do that. Now, I don't know if we can get one of those little bike things, those 10-person bike things. That'll be cool. We'll work that out eventually, maybe with the town.
I don't want to take that thing on Fifth Avenue. I'm not sure.
That was really like my first memory of a brewery hopping is going to Riverhead. Because I remember thinking to myself, I want to go to Riverhead because there's a bunch of places right there. I want to be able to visit a few different places. So that was definitely what was going on inside my head when we were choosing a place,
Yeah, they say, sometimes with like downtown areas, they say there's too many restaurants, but it seems like a concentration of a certain attraction becomes a attraction in and of itself, you know,
Right.
like a district, like the brewery district, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
You can go, there's 10 breweries in one place, you know, that becomes
exactly.
like a
one of the reasons why we
tourist
had the
attraction.
opportunity to get this location over here right next to the Brewers Collective was one of those things. These guys have been helping us out tremendously, as well as Great South Bay. Any questions we have, they're very quick with answers, which is awesome for us. They have no reason to actually do it except for they're just really nice guys. And,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But yeah, so when we had the opportunity to get this location, we were figuring that it can be that. It could be a destination even here, even just between the two of us. But of course, with the other great breweries in Bay Shore, it's even more of a destination, you know?
Yeah. Now, how big a help is it that there were trailblazers who did these same things?
Oh, tremendously. I mean,
beforehand?
just Brewers Collective alone, just being right here, I mean, they trailblazed so much for us already. And we came across our own pitfalls, of course.
Absolutely.
But, you know, things changed a little bit in the town, you know, from when they got their licenses and permits and stuff like that. But even just them already being here was a tremendous help to us.
Awesome. Now, to two of you guys, your local guys, how cool is it to sort of, is it easier when you're a local person to, like, create that sort of fanfare right away? People rooting for you, they know you, you live in the area, you send your kids to the schools, you went to the schools.
Yeah, I
does
get
that
a lot
help?
of it because, like, my daughter right now, she's in school, and my little one, and she's...
You send her into school with HopWin's flyers?
They
and
all
stuff?
know. They already know.
Yeah.
The teacher's like, when you're when you're open, and when you're open, and we're all coming. So it's
Yeah.
crazy, which is great. You know, we got the community behind us already.
Exactly.
And we're not even open yet, you know, so...
So what's the so when did you start this project, and how did it start? And then when do you project opening?
We started the project. I mean, you can go back really far in years.
Yeah.
When we got serious, though, it was probably about 3.5, 4 years ago to get the location, and we started hunting down a location.
How do you guys know each other? I'm sorry.
Oh, it's my brother-in-law. So our
you
wives are sisters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And they're in it with us as well.
Very Long Island.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
So we decided we wanted to do it. You know, we got everything together and started organizing, trying to find location. Finally found location over here after so much time. And then you had to go through the hard stuff, right? You always hear stories about people going, oh yeah, going through the town stuff is ridiculous. And then finally they get done and like, now I can brew again. You know, so which they really wanted to do in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So, and I was always like, yeah. I mean, that sounds crazy. How could it be like that? But yeah, I am so done with everything else at this point. I mean, yeah, I still have to go through things, of course, but
You want to get back to your passion.
yeah, you want to get back to just brewing and showing
Bureaucracy.
people, yeah,
That's
and showing
fantastic.
people what you can do, and hopefully putting some smiles on faces and stuff like that, you know. And yeah, but so it's been about 3.5 serious years of us like saying, okay, we have the business, we got the business oriented. Doing all the paperwork and stuff like that, getting the location, now dealing with the town, state, the Fed, you know, and finally making some good headway.
Tell us about your place. Like, how big is it? What's the bar look like? You know, the tasting room.
Size
bar.
is very close to the size of the Brewers Collective here, which is the whole thing is 2,200 square feet.
I have no memory of that.
I think it's 2,200 square feet, 2,250. I believe the whole thing is. But the tap room take off about 500 for the brewing area. We have a different permit from the town. They call it a special permit. And it was this new thing they did where the tasting room can be 75% size of the brewery, and the brewery can be 25%, which is perfect for what we want to do, because we always felt like the way they have it over there at Great South Bay, it's a nice, roomy area. You know, now they have a giant brewing area too, but the people don't see that really. I mean, some people that are interested will go back there and see it. But
Tim's filling us up here. Nice work.
But then, so we wanted to have that vibe of like it's a nice, roomy place for the people to come in, like you see it here at the Brewers Collective.
Yeah.
So we were lucky enough to get that special permit with the town, and so we got that vibe. So you come in there, it looks pretty big, but all in all, it's half the size of the Brewers Collective.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Now, Nick, you saw it, right? You said the bar is huge, right?
Yeah. 'Cause you guys have like this big wooden bar. How big is it? Again, it was 70 feet?
No, I think it's 45 feet.
45. I don't know where I got that number. I'm trying to jack you guys up a
I
little.
like 70.
Yeah. And you guys just said you're gonna have like a big TV, Xbox, and like a cool lounge area.
Yeah. We want to have a lounge area for mainly for kids. So if because we have kids, so if people come down there with the kids, we want them to have an area where they can kind of hang out, have a couple beers, at a reasonable time, and then so the kids also can't escape. They can't like run right out the door and then into the parking lot.
Sure. And when you said kids, I thought you meant like 22-year-olds. I'm like, oh, they gotta have their own spot. You know?
We want the punk teenagers down in our place.
They're welcome.
They're
They're welcome
playing
to come.
Fortnite over it.
Well, that's one of the things we want to double that space. That little what we call a gaming area is going to be for gamers, like serious gamers. I'm not a gamer. I don't know anything about it, but I do have some friends that are seriously into it, and they're going to help us design it. So maybe we're going to have a HopWin's gaming team that you'll see
I like that.
online that will be competing against other people. I don't know how it works, but I understand that's
Shit, I might join that.
Well, look at the Bayshore High School. They have some eSports like competitive gaming.
saw that.
Yeah,
Wow.
and they're like #1 in the state in gaming,
Yeah.
win scholarships and win
We'll take 'em
thousands of
on.
dollars.
We ain't scared of them. We ain't scared of them at all.
Yeah, that's actually perfect. And and Dubco has like their, like Dungeons and Dragons guys come over like on Wednesday nights or something.
Oh yeah, they go
games.
crazy with that.
Yeah,
The bartender runs that actually, Rob.
Yeah, so it's good. You tap into these little niche, hobby guys, and just, it's like it's like these, it's kind of like the equivalent of like these paint nights, which are probably more popular among females. But like, you paint and you sip
Well, didn't
wine.
you guys just have a paint night?
But here you just.
We've done them. I think it's been about a year since our last one.
Oh, okay.
But we have done more than a couple.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same with those as well.
So you just take a little hobby, a little craft, a little thing that you could do midweek,
Sure.
and then just pair it with beer with an awesome surrounding. And
Yeah.
You can literally pair anything with beer. And you've seen it.
Well, speaking to that, you guys do a hike and brew. You can take the two opposites of things, where working out and drinking beer.
That's
So-
our answer to if you. I hate to jump on Sophia's thing, but she has that beer fit, and that's her yoga. Well, it's not just yoga; it's everything. But so that's our answer to us being beer fit, or the community trying to be beer fit. So you can still have your beer, and you can do activities or something like that, and get out there and do a hike or whatever. We're gonna have other things too. It's not just that, but that's one leg of it.
All right, so
it's a big leg of it.
The HopWins guys, tell us a little bit more about the hike and brew. Tell us exactly what you guys do.
Well, I mean, it's one way of trying to highlight craft beer on Long Island, where, we get people out on a hike, get them to exercise a little bit, release some endorphins and stuff. People socialize. Some of the hikes are easy. Some of them are a bit hard, and we try to let you know so you know what you're ready for. The hikes usually range anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, depending on the feel of the crowd. And then from there, we go to a brewery that's local to that area. And, and then the socializing even happens more. People let down their guard. They've had a couple beers. I could honestly say I've made some friends just doing the hike and brew. And I'm pretty sure there's a few regulars that can definitely say they've made some friends, too. And, I actually... I see it. I see people talking. I see people socializing, and then I see them socializing on Facebook, and they didn't even know each other before.
Right. So it's kind of like making beer community, if you will. And what's nice about it is we try to shine a light on the local breweries. Like we bring them there. It's kind of like we know a lot of the brewers, and breweries and stuff. So we try to show other people that. We had a couple of people that are really into the beer community, and on the last hike and brew, we actually went to 1940s, and they were never there before, and I was shocked. I'm like, how, you weren't here before ever? They're like, no. I'm like, check it out. And they enjoyed it. They had a great time. They loved the beers. They loved the environment. It was great. So you get a lot of that where people get to, get to see something they might not have seen before, just because they want to do something a little healthy, go out and have, with friends or new friends, and check it out. And then they check out new places, and that's what we're trying to do with that.
Yeah, I love that. So much, beer is so much, historically associated with sitting on the couch and watching football, and there's no reason you can't get out and do stuff and have a few beers. And, softball figured that out, decades ago, so why not hiking or something like that,
Right.
And even right now, as we sit at the Brewers Collective in Bayshore, you got a dart league that's about to get going over here,
it's
right?
our Brewers Dart League, yeah.
Yeah, how cool is that? So it's all brewers?
Yeah, well, it's all breweries. It's brewers and people, either people who work there or friends.
Okay.
Whatever way you can scrape a dart team together.
Gotcha, yeah. And how long has this been going on for? Do you know enough about this dart league to talk about it right now?
Yes, not fully qualified, but mostly. It's so this has been going on before we were in it.
Fill in the gaps for
Yeah, you fill in. Yeah.
We're in there. This is our first year. I'm not part of the team, but
It's our second year. Spider Bite's been doing it beforehand. I don't know who else was in it other than Spider Bite, but they are. They're the ones who really pioneered it, and also the ones to beat, Larry. No, they're very good players.
Although, if I'm not mistaken, we kicked their...
Yeah, GSB is full of freaking dart league players.
We kicked their ass. We kicked their ass. Yeah, last week. This week is a bye for us.
Break
Shay, when we open up, we want you on our team. So
from what I heard, I don't know, I wasn't there. Sorry, Larry.
Yeah, GSB is the upsetters this league.
Now the Brewers Collective is cool because you guys started as a homebrew club, right?
Yeah,
but like a decent sized homebrew club.
Yeah, there was nine members of the Brewers Collective in the beginning. We were a homebrew club. We started off at my IT job. I have an IT day job still. Forgive my voice again. I'm too much yelling. But yeah, we started as a homebrew club, and there was like a joke taken too far. Now we have a brewery.
There's way too far.
There's less of us, but it's still the same spirit. We are a collective. It's equal in, equal out. Shared between the partners, the founders, and we. I think our first event was the Blue Point Cask Ale Festival, 2012. I think is when we started, and then from there we were commercial brewing out in Farmingdale at an incubator. It used to be called Taste of Long Island, where Lithology is today.
Is that Now, what was the scene like on Long Island 2012 versus 2019? How much have things changed or not changed?
It was like people were into local beer. They have been since Blue Point really in '98. But it was more like the big hype stuff was coming from abroad, and now it's a little more focused here. Like people are more interested in what's going on. There's also like 2 times the breweries than there was as well. So it's different. The beers are different. There was no New England IPA back in 2020. I forget when Heady Topper was started, but it wasn't down here at that time. That was I think 2014 or so. So it was definitely a different scene, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
I think it was also like back then, especially around here, people were just learning about craft beer.
You didn't even drink.
I drank. So they were eager to learn. Everybody wanted to learn, and everybody was learning. And nowadays, I think there's a lot more experienced craft beer drinkers, and they're expecting more. And
definitely.
I think that's why
it wasn't in a novelty phase back then, but it was like just getting out of a novelty phase in like 2012-ish. I'm just gonna throw that out there. But yeah, something like that. And now it's almost expected that you have good beer wherever you are, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. So now people have much more of a discriminating taste, right? So how do you guys adjust? How did beer change to adjust to people's sort of changing palates or trends or whatever is affecting what they're liking?
We don't have experience with that yet. So.
Let's talk to the old guard.
That's a really good question. In a lot of ways, Great South Bay, we've been just cranking out the exact same beers. I would say there's other breweries in Bayshore, absolutely, and that would answer that question a little better. That are probably a little bit more innovative. We absolutely love to innovate. We like to do our one-offs and stuff like that, but. We come from a sort of maybe a different path, We've had that blonde ambition, that blood orange, massive IPA, for
your bread and butter.
For years, that's our bread and butter, and almost to a fault, It's just sometimes, we feel like we look at ourselves, and think that we could be a bit more innovative.
Do you feel like you're not as nimble as some of the startups?
It's sometimes it's a lot easier for some of the smaller guys. That's something that we notice is we're due to several reasons, but all primarily due to our size. That it's a little bit more difficult. To to stay that flexible. Of course, we have our one-offs. We're trying to keep the tasting room fresh, and we're doing this and that. Lab, the kiwi sour, stuff like that. It's just sometimes a little more difficult for us. But
this is the business model, though, right? Like, what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta stay innovative.
Absolutely.
We're watching a whole bunch of classic Long Island breweries. Well, not a whole bunch. I should take that back, but more than a couple classic Long Island breweries, bite the dust due to what I would guess. I've never really totally reflected on it, but what I would guess is maybe a lack of innovation and just getting too stuck in that groove. Southampton, being one of those, we love those guys. Some of the best beer ever, and especially way back,
a double white IPA.
Early.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. But it's you got to innovate or suffer at this point, and that's where we're at
especially
right
now with all the variety. It's and it is way easier.
We're trying.
Way easier for a small volume brewery to do whatever the fuck you want than it is for an established place like GSB
Great
to
South
do
Bay,
weird stuff. It's not the same.
They're they got something that works. It's working for them, and people are coming back to drink it. And you're at a point where why change what's working?
And then they say they also have their one-offs. So I go down there and I kind of look for the one-offs first. I've had the other ones a bunch of times, and I have my favorites out of the other ones that are there all the time. But I see a one-off. I'm like, wow, I've never had that before. That's pretty cool. Let me check that out. And I'll check it out. I'm like, wow. Always happy with it, and then I'll always go to my favorites too.
And it's tough. Of course, we're locked in with Claire Rose. We love you, Claire Rose. But sometimes, 1,000 gallons of beer in a clip, that's our smallest batch size. It's a little tricky to do an experimental IPA with some brand new hop or something like that, where Zach's got to go out there and sell, 400, 300 cases of that, so it's a little restrictive at times, sometimes I wish we had a smaller pilot system that we could really kind of play around with.
Yeah, you're kind of stuck in that purgatory where you're big, but you're not like Blue Point sort of, they got to a point, they were like you guys for a while, and then they just had this massive infusion of cash, and it still stayed like you guys for a while after the buyout. So I remember wondering, are they gonna push the envelope? And then all of a sudden they were just new things were popping up every day, so they sort of crossed that threshold now where they have access to crazy money, and they could do whatever the hell they want, so it's like you're on this side of the scale where you're kind of you don't have the commercial pressures that you do, and then you have that where you're just like next level shit where you just have money to do whatever.
But it's coming. I should say it's coming.
All right,
we got some really fun stuff down the pike. It's just.
Shit, our collab today is gonna be awesome.
The Kiwi
Sour?
The
locals release as well.
That sounds fantastic.
Oh, cool, nice.
Yeah, that should be
fun.
What
are we drinking right now, Tim?
Let's see. I don't know. What are you drinking? So
I think I'm drinking Hopsack, right?
Yeah, me and you drinking Hopsack. I think
I'll
you're
go
drinking the same
Texla.
thing.
Okay. This is a New England IPA?
Yeah, New England IPA. So a bunch of oats in the mash, water, salts to soften the mouthfeel, and then we used hops from Craft Master hops out of Mattatuck exclusively. We got a couple different varieties from these guys. Wanted to test it. So the Brewers Collective is a farm brewery, so we have to use, starting this year, 60% of all our ingredients has to be from New York State. So the malts are coverable, pretty easy. Hops are especially like hops for this kind of a style.
That's realistic, 60% at this point?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay, good.
It is definitely limiting.
The predictions 5 years ago was like that 60% is crazy.
Yeah, no, the industry's picked up around it.
That's great.
The malt in particular has gotten markedly better. The hops are matured now and very nice. And this is not a Citra New England IPA or something with like an Instagram hop kind of thing, but it's nice, and it's all from here. This is with XO7 from Craft Master, and it's nice. It's got the juice, it's got the softness.
It's awesome.
And all from Long Island. So we're trying a series of these. This is our second one. The first one was Mattatuck Monster from the same farm, and the third one's going to be this X14 hop that we got from the same guy, this guy Marcos, our friend.
Now, what the hell is an Instagram hop?
Like your really flashy hops, like Citra, Galaxy, Mosaic.
Okay.
I don't want to call them fuckboy hops, but I just did.
Yes.
Stuff like that. No, to be fair, they're really good and they're fantastic. But we're trying to do something a little different with having the stuff that's from here. Gotcha. We certainly use those hops. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to throw shade or anything. But it's nice to have stuff on Long Island as well.
So what's as far as trends in craft beer? Certainly. New England IPAs blowing up right now, and for good reason. Yeah. It's fucking fantastic.
Yep.
It's crisp. What else are the big beers that not so much what's gonna trend, but what are people consuming right now? I know
lots of lactose. In general, lots of lactose in general.
Yeah.
Cereal beers are a fad.
Tremendous amount of contract brewing as well, just kind of filling open spaces over at Great South Bay.
Oh, so you're seeing firsthand what people are experimenting with.
Last year in 2018, I think we brewed for, it was either 16 or 17 different contract brewers, and we're seeing a lot of fruit, to answer your question. Yeah, a lot of fruit.
A lot of fruit. Yep.
Hey, Greg, do you ever get don't name names, but do you ever get some brewery to come in there and just like throw some weird recipe at you and you're like, what the hell? And then go, all right, we'll do it. But
finally had to say no, part of my, as a contract brewer, who am I to, I really had no line. We were pushing boundaries. We've pushed boundaries by contract brewing for all these, major.
But your name's also on there too, so you want to make it, a good product.
Right, exactly. And then we had no line. It was about 3 weeks ago, I want to say. This particular brand came at us with something that we said. I printed it out and handed it off to all the guys just to look at their expressions on their face, and it was just the level of, I would say, not dry hops, but dry ingredients, stuff that was expected of us to throw into the fermenter. It was a ton, a literal ton in a 30-barrel fermenter of the ingredients. I'm not going to mention ingredients or anything like that, but these weren't hops. And they might as well have been hops. And I just said, there's absolutely no way. We cannot. I can't do it. I'm sorry. And that's the first time I said no, Other than that, no mixed culture fermentations, no bacteria, no, brewery-specific bacteria for those listening at home. In the cellar, we'll do kettle sours, but that lactobacillus, that lactic acid producing bacteria, must be contained within our boil kettle, just like
today,
we did on our.
You were very careful with that this morning.
Our beer today.
I don't blame you.
That
very
was the
careful.
only rule. About 3 weeks ago, I had to institute a new rule: no coconut shavings. Should exceed 1,000 pounds. We had it was like 2,000 pounds of coconut shavings in a 30-barrel batch in 1,000 gallons of beer.
I thought you were going to say cocaine.
Sorry, we couldn't do
that's
that.
a lot.
But that's where we draw the line. I think I answered that question.
Dude, that's so interesting.
Yeah, we said no way.
That's cool, man.
Been in those meetings or whatever. It's just kind of those things interest me. I don't know why.
Oh yeah, and without these contracts, we're doing stuff now that we never would have even considered possible, but they've consistently pushed the envelope, and we're very grateful for that. These guys pushing us to say, no, let's do this, let's do that. Hey, we, want to do something this way. Would you try? It's like, oh man, I've never tried that before. And then, we do it, and then it's, not stealing their ideas, but just expanding our mind and expanding our experiences. Right. And bettering our beer as well,
So once again, we're at the Brewers Collective. Anyone watching on Facebook right now, looking at the beautiful tasting room and the Long Island Brewers Dart League getting going. Last question, and no pressure for each one of you to answer it. Whoever wants to say something, thinks they have something insightful, jump in. Where do you see the craft beer scene on Long Island going? And, where do you see 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
Hyper localized, I think more so.
Neighborhood.
I think so. I think smaller, in more frequency. I don't. A lot of people talk about a bubble and a saturation level.
You've heard that for years.
Yeah, exactly, for years. I mean, there's definitely one, but I don't think we're there yet. It's still just green pastures for all right now, for real. There's so many people there. Just wait. There's a lot of thirsty people, a lot of freaking people on this island too. So.
Yeah.
I agree with Tim.
Local and small.
I mean, I definitely think localized, smaller and localized. I think instead of growing bigger, I think as individual breweries, I think the market's just going to be bigger, and there's going to be a lot more smaller breweries. And like Tim said, localized, like kind of the way it was before Prohibition. I mean, every town had its own brewery. And that's and that's really the way it has no choice but to go. That's the way it's gone in history, and
we're
that's the way
finally
it's
past
go
that
now.
number too. But we're finally past the pre-prohibition.
Yeah, I mean,
New York number.
Nobody thinks they're gonna go up in flames if they have a beer nowadays. So prohibition's never gonna happen.
No. Now, do you see if that happens? And there's a proliferation of more local, smaller breweries. How does that affect, competition at the tap line, or does the tap line at bars become less important because the scene at the local brewery tasting rooms sort of become like a little culture in and of itself?
Now, again, we're new to the game. We're coming in, and we don't have a product out there yet. But from what I'm seeing is there's still a lot of overturn on taps for restaurants and brew pubs and stuff like that. So if there are even more, that's fine. You're still going to be on there at the same rotation rate, but there'll be one or two in between you. You might have two taps on a restaurant or whatever, and then you'll have a week off where somebody else will have it. Then you come out with something fresh, and you keep it overturning. That's the way I see it. But again, they would probably have much more insight than that.
Sure. I think that if and when it becomes more like small town breweries, the taproom culture is nice. The restaurants are watching, distributors are watching. There's a lot of industry stuff around all this that, I mean, we're so tiny. We're like a shit stain on the street. Really, we're nothing. We're 3 barrels. It's 100 gallons of beer at a time. I brewed with Greg this morning 1,000 gallons of beer this morning, so it's nothing. But like, you know, if you get 100 of us, it's not nothing. But it's to be, you know. But there's a lot of industry people watching. Your 3-tier compatriots, we'll call them, your retail and your wholesalers. They're watching. So you know, hopefully we can all get along and make this really nice. Like I think of like a local bakery. You know, we're just a bakery. We're just doing it different. You know, instead of making bread, we're making beer, and it's better fresh and it's better local and it's better to support it local, and hopefully that can continue.
Cool. I also think what can happen with it is it's gonna start being brought down to like local town pride. Every town's gonna have a brewery. Every region's gonna have a brewery, and people are gonna become prideful of that region, of that brewery, and people are gonna start going down to that brewery. I think that's what's gonna start. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's what's gonna start taking them away from big beer and macro beer is having their own hometown pride of their breweries. Once most towns have a brewery, people are going to have that pride to want to go down and drink that beer, you know, and it's going to be that much easier for them, and it's going to be that much more convenient. So I do not foresee a bubble anytime in the near future
I could totally see that happening. I know if I'm on vacation or traveling or Connecticut or New Hampshire, I want to try the local beer.
I do the same thing.
But if you have that many breweries in Bayshore, for instance, you can go to Coastal. You know, they're this close to, they could fill the whole tap line with Bayshore breweries right now. And then maybe go to Patchogue, and all those tap lines are just Patchogue breweries. You know, like talk about like a hyper-local concentration. That's a cool thing.
It's all right there.
I've been in Temecula, California, and also in New Hampshire up there, and you can walk to like 7-8 breweries. No problem.
New Hampshire's great.
So
I can hit this place with
New Hampshire. We have a tremendous amount more people here.
So you can bike here.
I can hit this place with a really lucky, maybe a 5. I'm not that good. But from my front lawn, I can hit this. Absolutely. One day I'll have to try.
I'll bring out. We'll get.
I would like to see you jump that wall.
Me too. We're gonna boost you over it later.
But if I could answer that question too, where I see things going, real quick, real simple. I agree 100%, 1,000% with what all you guys just said. I also want to just make a prediction. Brett is coming back. Brettanomyces is going to make a big comeback. Because where the hell did it go?
I thought you meant Brett Saberhagen.
Where did it go?
Right. It got homogenized out by Sack.
Yeah, Brett Saberhagen too. How's he doing? He's a Long Island guy, right?
I was thinking Brett Michaels. I'm like, he's never left.
Okay. Bret Hart.
Brettanomyces will make a comeback. If I have to bring him back,
who is that for non-insiders?
Brettanomyces is just a wild yeast strain that was once ubiquitous. Every brewery was working with Brett, and I haven't seen it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little outside of maybe I'm a little sheltered.
I got some in the tank back there.
Do you?
Yeah.
I haven't had a Brett beer in
a year and a half ago or so, and then it kind of died off a little bit.
It's gone, but we're bringing it back.
Like this year. We're bringing it back.
Yeah. Sour beer is still sort of a niche amongst craft beer.
Besides Goza's, Brett's are my favorite sours. I love Brett beers.
Yeah.
I love them when they're done well.
Maybe I'm just... Maybe I just don't get out enough.
A lot of brewers are afraid. Like
open my eyes. I haven't seen anything.
A lot of people, don't want to handle both because could cross contaminate. I got all
terrified
kinds of
of it.
I'm terrified of that. But
Tim keeps telling me nothing to worry about.
So. Yeah, as long as your sanitation's up to par, you won't cross contaminate. But
I think with wood it would be different, right? I mean,
definitely, right? Because it'll get trapped in the wood a little bit. But.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do a bunch of sours here.
But with stainless steel, it's
stainless is easy. Stainless is clean. Your chemicals do the job. But a lot of people are worried about cross-contamination.
Of course, what they say with the wineries, because Brett will shut a winery down.
Right.
Well,
and they have to vinegar everything.
But again, I mean,
kill everything.
I've always heard that as well, and I wonder, is it? Why though? It's not like a super bug or something. It dies with sanitizer. What are they doing?
But they're wine barrels, right? They use the barrels.
Of course, in the barrels. That's true. That's
a lot of them have stainless steel.
I think it's more exaggerated too, but
yeah, I think it's a little exaggerated. But
we're gonna take this conversation to the dartboards. Let you
it's not over.
Let you beer nerds figure this out.
Yeah, exactly. We're going too deep.
Until next time.
But anyway, so. We're gonna wrap this up. This has been awesome. Sorry to cut everyone off. Thanks for taking the time. And congratulations to all you guys on not only forget commercial success, but finding something that you love and finding a passion and finding camaraderie and friends. And it's a really special thing. So, not a lot of people have that. You guys should be happy and proud, and we're proud to have you here.
Thank you.
And it's a great thing for Bayshore. It's a great thing for Long Island. And, thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Strongest that I've ever felt before. In my current state and in these days of war, we must grow together or the end is near. Thicken up your skin and loosen up your fears. I've been waiting through my limitations, choosing to move.